Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, to the dignitaries who are sitting in the first few rows and to these lovely students who are sitting here. Let me just start by recollecting my college days. And normally the Saturday, and this is the first time I'm seeing an event happening on a Sunday. Normally Sundays are meant for annual days in many, many colleges. As the video was spanning across the audience, I could see one gentleman stretching his legs, happily seeing his mobile phone. So I can completely empathize with you. There will be an information overdose of innovation today. But as I was sitting there, I was just recollecting my college days when I was in Loyola. Saturday, Sunday used to be at most torturous days in Loyola College. You used to sit through these guest lectures, so-called guest lectures from these corporate heads from different companies. And on a Sunday, when you want to relax, you'll be put into a hall. And your HOD will walk into this hall and will say, look, we are calling some big shots from all these corporate companies, general manager HR, vice president HR, marketing, sales, advertising. You just ensure that you're all well behaved because only then they're going to come and recruit you. Okay? And then he will add one more line. You know what? Whatever these guys come and speak to you will be about 200 feet above the ground. But even if they are speaking 200 feet above the ground, act as if you have understood it. For example, there could be a mindset that this guy is from Infosys and he's going to talk about some rocket science. Let's say if I'm going to start my talk by saying, the latest random digitized programming technology has generated $1.5 million in revenue. People sitting there will be saying, wow, what knowledge this guy has. There's no word called random digitized programming technology and all this stuff. I've just randomly put some 4 words together to make it look very complicated. But we were taught in our college how to even nod our heads. So when somebody speaks in high-flown English or in complicated words in English, you are supposed to nod your head as if you have understood everything. Brilliant, right? Now, don't expect anything like that from this particular session. I'm just wanting to keep it very, very simple, plain vanilla stuff, so that the message that I have about 19 and a half minutes now reaches your audience. I'm particularly very impressed with the invite. I think Sai has started with the innovation in the invite itself. I don't know how many of you have seen the invite. The invite goes like this, okay? It's like a rocket launcher. So innovation starts with something very, very small, and I just want you guys to understand there is a basic difference, a small difference rather, between invention and innovation, right? The invention is something which happens for the first time, where innovation is all about a process enhancement. Now, I know that the majority of the audience who are sitting here are all students, but my talk is going to focus on 3 different areas. 1, what can students do? 2, what can teachers do? And 3, what can a college, an academic institution can do? Because there is no way you can talk about innovation when the college culture does not foster innovation in the campus. Now, let's face it straight. We are all focused on marks. Okay, innovation can never happen in an institution which focus only on marks. That is ground rule number 1. Because you study for marks, there is very little scope for innovation to happen. Okay, why are you doing engineering? Because I want to get placement. Whether it is BE, mechanical, civil, aeronautical, petrochemical, whatever, eventually if you want to land up only in one particular company, there is very little scope for innovation to happen. So if you look at some of the worldwide studies which has happened, they talk about few characteristics which are required in students. It talks about few characteristics which is required in educational institution, and more importantly for teachers. Okay, I think teachers play a very, very critical role in fostering an innovation culture. Point number 1, if you really want to be innovative, is to have an empathetic attitude. Now, today there is a lot of talk about, we have so many educational institutions, especially in engineering college. Does India need so many engineers in the first place, and so on and so forth? The fact that I see is India as a developing nation which has so many problems can be solved only by engineers. Only technology can solve these problems, so for which you need to have an innovative mindset. So let's get that fact very, very clear. Now, who can solve a problem? A person who can empathize with the problem is the only person who can solve the problem. Sympathy does not matter. If somebody is injured or somebody goes through a tough time, you go and sympathize with this individual. There is very little you can do with that particular person. But somebody who is empathetic, who understands what the other person goes through, is always the person who goes the extra mile in terms of solving the problem. So I think if you really want to be innovative, students, please have an empathetic mindset. More importantly, if there are teachers sitting here, please have this empathetic mindset. You cannot go into a class and teach for 60 students in the same format. It's next to impossible. It is 60 different individuals sitting in a classroom. And that's where I believe If at all there is innovation, if at all we want to talk about innovation, the first and foremost thing we need to speak about is education innovation, educational innovations in our campuses, where you identify each student as a single individual with unique potential and how you can foster that. That's number one. Number two is you have a problem solving ability. I think great innovators are all people who were able to identify a problem. Today, I think more than solving the problem, it is about identifying the problem, which is the crux. So that's where even in this corporate entrance test that you have this logical and analytical reasoning. Now people are really not worried about the answer that you're going to give. It is about your ability to break the problem into logical steps and solve the problem. So if there is a problem statement coming up, do you have the mindset to solve the problem step by step and thereby making a complex problem into a very simple problem? So problem solving ability comes second. Third, networking. Now this is something that I want my student friends to focus on. Innovation does not happen in isolation. It can never happen in isolation, right? Very, very few people have been very successful by coming out with some innovative products or innovative ideas when they were in isolation. Many a times, innovation happens when you network. When you have a small idea, and when that idea is nurtured among like-minded people, when you speak to your friends in your classrooms, when you share it with other friends in other colleges, that idea is nurtured and becomes a much, much bigger idea. So always it's very important that we network with people. And my humble request, I think this is a fantastic forum. 2,000 students are here. Most likely, you will be sitting next to a person whom you would have seen in his classroom. You would be seeing that person every day in your classroom. He'll be sitting right next to you here as well. Use this one-day opportunity to meet friends. In social media, apart from taking selfies and putting likes and comments, it's good if you can share your ideas and encourage viewpoints. Remember this particular statement, innovation does not happen in isolation, right? Fourth, resilience. Some of the best ideas can be shot down in no time, and most of us give it up very, very easily. Be it a corporate, be it in college, if you go with one bright idea, there will be 101 people who will tell you why this will not work. And Indians, we have this crab mentality, right? When you put one crab into a bottle, it will easily come out. But if you put 2 or 3 Indian crabs into the bottle, the crabs will never come out because the other crab will never allow the second crab to come out. And we suffer from this crab mentality. You come with a great idea, you go and talk to, for example, if I go and ask somebody, how is this dress? Dress nalla irukku. Unakku kevalama irukku. Right? Now, we are known to be criticizing people all the time, and that happens with some of the best and the brightest ideas. You know, we in corporate have always seen this. Some of the brightest ideas are killed in no time by the respective managers. Some of the brightest ideas are killed by the professors in the same colleges, by the head of the department in the same colleges, or worst case, if it goes up to the principal says it will not work. To have an innovative mindset, one, students need to be resilient, and educational institutions have to be extremely open-minded. You search for some of the top innovative companies in the world, you will figure out some very common names coming up. 3M is one company that we are all speaking about as one of the most innovative companies in the world. And there is a simple example of 3M which we have all read, the story of how the Post-it came into picture, right? I'm sure most of you would have read this story, but how Post-it came into picture. 3M focuses their employees to come with innovative products, which means they encourage their people to come with something which is outside of their work. They fund their research programs and they're really not worried about the results. So there is this guy who comes and says that I want to work on a project, or I want to come with a glue which will stick anything, which means it can stick this bottle to this wood. It can stick this paper and this bottle like that. And he wanted to come with a gum, a glue which will stick anything. After extensive research, he came out with a glue which did not stick anything, okay? Leave alone bottle and this wood, it did not even stick paper to paper. Now, if he were in India, in our kind of culture, this guy would have been fired. But the company decided, okay, park that glue for some time and you work on something else. And it so happened that glue, which did not stick anything, today generates billions of dollars because they came out with a product, Post-it, which will has the ability to stick to something for a short period of time. And when you remove it, the glue mark is not there. Such a wonderful product. Now that is where, for you to have an innovative mindset, the culture is very, very important. Never kill an idea before it is even being nurtured. And for students, be resilient. The fifth, if you want to be resilient, please face criticism. Indians love criticism, not taking it, giving it. Okay, we love facing criticism. Now, to face criticism, now I am somebody who speaks my mind in my office. Now, for example, I still remember this event. It was an employee engagement event. We were supposed to be celebrating some big occasion in our Mahendra City campus. I walked up to my boss and she said she has 1 lakh budget to distribute snacks, right? So I walked up to her and said, ma'am, you have 1 lakh budget. How about making a 100 feet long cake? A cake which is 100 feet long. And my boss said, that's a very stupid idea. It will not work. And I was very, very convinced that if you make a 100 feet long cake, employees themselves can make the cake. That by itself will be an employee engagement event. My boss somewhere believed that blowing up 1 lakh rupees for a cake is waste of money. And she didn't realize that by eating that cake, employees are going to be happy. So I went on with her for 2 months, 3 months. It never happened. Finally, my boss had to quit. And the day she quit, I said, I want to do this event. And we made a cake which was 100 feet long in our food court. Over 9,000 employees participated in this event. And I sent that picture. Now, it's a very, very small effort. But I don't think for a cake cutting ceremony, you'll have 9,000 employees coming together. What was a wow factor is here is an opportunity where I'm seeing a 100 feet long cake. Now, criticism will come from all quarters. And when criticism happens, be like a hawk. Hawk is one variety of this mighty birds which belong to the eagle family. Hawks are very, very huge. And you know what? Our local crows goes and attacks hawks all the time. And crows attack hawks in groups. And hawks know that with one whack, it can kill about 10 to 12 crows at one stretch. But they don't attack. Instead, when crows attack, hawk starts flying up. The crows chase them to a particular height. But a hawk still goes higher and higher to a particular stage where the crow cannot reach them. And apparently the hawk from that height will look down on the crow and it will say, you are too small to fight with you. Okay? You are too small to fight with me rather. Now, if you want to have an innovative mindset, be like a hawk. Face criticism. Only fight with people who will make sense. Otherwise, don't even waste your time fighting with the people. You focus on your idea and keep moving on. And that is the best way to come with innovative products. Now, we spoke about empathy, we spoke about problem solving, we spoke about networking, resilience, and facing criticism. Now, finally, my dear friends, innovation can happen at a very, very young age. You know why kids are very innovative? Because they are fearless. They just don't have the fear. Whereas we, adults, have the fear factor in us. What will my teachers say? What will my professors say? And so on and so forth. We have 101 reasons why we don't want to do anything. The last 8 minutes that I have, I just want to touch upon an area on social entrepreneurship, right? I'm sure speakers who are going to come after me are all experts in their respective field, but I'm not too sure if anybody is going to talk about social entrepreneurship. In my mind, I think India does not need great doctors and great engineers. We have enough and more of them, and we will be creating enough and more of them. What we need is good human beings. Now, being a good human being does not cost you anything. And if technology can enable, we can be able to solve people's problems. Now, I'm going to give you 2 examples on social entrepreneurship. Now, as design thinking as a concept, there is a simple exercise on the marshmallow. If you have done a design thinking workshop, there is a simple exercise on marshmallow where spaghetti sticks are given and you need to build the tallest tower with a small piece of marshmallow on the top. Right? That's an exercise. It's been given to different set of people. It has been given to doctors, engineers, chartered accountants, financial professionals, the so-called innovators, inventors, CEO of the company, school teachers, students, and all these kids, all this different category. Can you imagine who built the tallest tower till now? Which group of people build the tallest towers? Just take a guess. Design Thinking Challenge says the tallest tower ever was built by primary school kids. You know why? Normally, when we built the tower, we built from bottom up. Right? You build the tower from bottom up and then place the marshmallow. Kids do exactly the opposite. Right? They build the tower from top down. Okay? The fear of failure is just not there among kids. And that is what we need to learn. And probably when we were young, we were all innovative. Over a period of time, our education system is such that we all run behind marks. What is a plus b the whole square is nothing but a square plus b square plus 2ab. Why? I don't know. That's a formula. My mathematics teacher asked me to by heart it, and I by hearted it. And that's the curse in our system. That's the curse in our system. I run a foundation called Matram, okay, and we work with students. We support higher education, and one part of it, we work with young kids to teach them the joy of giving. It so happened that we were working on a project. The project was very simple. We said we will collect wish list from about 600 to 700 corporation school kids, and this wish list will be anything that they want. They need to write a letter to Santa Claus, and this wish list will be taken to a upper middle class school. We will give it to the children of that particular school, and the kids of the upper middle class will fulfill the wish of this corporation school kid. Now, why would they want to do this? Because we thought by doing this simple activity, the kids in the upper middle class school will learn the joy of giving. So this exchange program happened, and it was such a beautiful project. Everything went fine, and that is when in that corporation school there was a small room, and the principal said, we are planning to set up a school library in this particular room. And there was a 5th standard kid standing right next to me who was busy taking photographs. He heard that, and after the project was over, any project that we do a debrief. We ask kids, what did you learn, etc. This kid walks up to me and said, Uncle, I heard the principal saying that she wanted to set up a school library. Why can't we set up the school library? Which is class 5 student asking this question. Why can't we set up the school library? And I found it very, very interesting. Now, there are different types of charity that people work for. People will write a check and give you some quantum of money. That is charity. Some people will give out time. But when you work with kids, you realize that you come with some of the fantastic ideas out there. So we went to the school and we said, to set up this library, it is going to cost us 3.5 lakhs, right? Very easy to go and ask for a donor to give 3.5 lakhs. But the kids sat around and I said, okay, let's see if we can put this as an enterprise challenge. We said, how much ever money this class 5 students are going to raise, from our foundation, we will match it. So if they raise 50,000, we will give 50,000, 1 lakh, and with which we will source funds and build this library. That was the first project that we had in mind. My friends were very skeptical. My friends, in fact, told me, what can a 5th standard kids do? We said, look, let's explore. Let's give them the opportunity. So we walked up to the school. We spoke to the principal. Principal was more than happy for the idea. And we said, ma'am, we do not want to disturb the flow of thoughts of these kids. Let's try and see how innovative these kids are. Imagine class 5 students sitting and brainstorming, and then 2 kids walk up with this idea. They said, Uncle, we are going to have a science exhibition in our school. In the next 15 days, our school is going to come across a science exhibition. Thousands of students from other schools are going to come to our school. And every one of us will be putting up a science project. But I noticed that our canteen in our school serves only 3 items. Okay, it has 1 bakery product, some noodles, and some soft drink. Okay, why can't we put up food stalls in our classroom? Now, this is not a very novel idea and all this stuff, but for a class 5 students to even think about it. I said, okay, now by putting up this stall, what will you do? He said, it's one, we can create plenty of opportunities, we have plenty of varieties, and we can generate money out of this. Now, if this idea had come from a college kid, we would have just brushed it off. But remember, these are for class 5 kids. And I said, okay, fantastic idea, but who's going to go and talk to the principal? And this kid said, I will go and talk to the principal. So I was sitting there, these kids go up to the principal of the institution, and you should see the conviction with which these kids spoke. He says, ma'am, we will make sure that our parents cook some of the best food and we will sell it and we will be able to generate money. What is more important, as much as we need to appreciate the kids, the principal was okay to the idea. Now imagine in a science exhibition, you want the kids to display their science product. The principal said, look, the idea of generating money is coming from the kids, so I'm going to support that idea. And she signed it off. For a one-day exhibition, these kids managed to raise 1.75 lakhs by just selling food products in the class 5 stall. 1.75 lakhs. And the first school library in the Thoraipakam Corporation School was set up by the kids from Sishya OMR School in Chennai. Now that has become a regular project for us. The second library is now being worked with Mahendra World School. Now these kids are not going to take the same challenge. They are saying how we can work around and generate money. Now what is required, my dear friends, is this innovative mindset. The fearless attitude that I can go and pitch for an idea. If you really want to be innovative in your own sphere of life, be fearless. Your idea is always your idea. Network that idea and learn from the crow, my dear friends. There is no better bird than a crow to talk about innovation. It is the most innovative birds God has ever created. They ever exist in nature. Crows are the only bird which can use tools to eat food. Okay, tools. It's the only bird, and there are enough and more videos on YouTube which you can watch. Crows are solving puzzles to eat food. Okay, if there is this bottle and this bottle is empty and there is food left inside, crows are the only bird which will use tools to eat food from this bottle. Yet crows are not very highly respected, unfortunately, because of their color, right? And if crow was white in color, probably we'll all start respecting a crow. But there is this lovely video in YouTube about how crows go on to eat food in Japan, right? Dropping the seed from a traffic signal, waiting for the traffic signal to turn red, and then expecting a vehicle to run over the seed, and then it goes and eats food from that busy Japanese road. Now, if crows can be so innovative, if an ostrich can be so innovative, if a honeybee can be so innovative, we are blessed with one level higher order intelligence. It is a crime that if we don't use our so-called intelligence, our so-called mindset, if we cannot solve problems. Each and every one of you sitting in this hall is innovative. My humble request is to be fearless. What's the big deal? What can happen if your HOD comes and tells you that this will not work? So be it. It's his idea. There are thousands of people who have told me that this will not work. It is only you who believe what will work for you. And I just want you to capture that moment of glory and be as innovative as possible, because for us, the future, as a young nation, India is a very, very young nation. We are the youngest country in the world. 2020, average age is 27, which means we should also be the happiest nation. But in the happiness index, we are way, way below. Okay, you know why? Because we all run behind one common dream that everybody has, which is to be employable. Search for your job which gives you a lot of happiness. Look for a job where you can be innovative, and keep that innovative quotient always high. And I wish educational institutions like Sai Ram and all these institutions, not just to search for marks, not just to look for university ranks, probably have the number of patents that can be filed from your institution. That can be a great index for us to push the education to the next level. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. It was a pleasure talking to you.